Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the front-end app sync. Um, Leo, I'll just let you go ahead and take it away and start updating us on what you've been working on since last week.
Yeah, I have been working actually with John in the desktop farmer. I'm gonna start with that because I got a lot of comments on this. Basically, the farmer is like an app that runs with a lot of mockups, and actually, I was able to add the block authoring and the block and the peers and the space pledget, but I cannot make it work like a real farmer. So I can't like add blocks in the front end because it's not like farming, right? So I didn't knew about that, and I want to know if I can work in that way to make it work like not with mocks, right? Actually, the peers information is mock also, and there is a lot of like hard coded things that I think that at this point should be working. So I don't know if you guys can tell me something about that in terms of how can I make this desktop farming like really work.
Sure, yeah. So first off, I'd like to save the discussion on the desktop farmer for the meeting tomorrow that we're going to have, especially since John's not here right now.
Oh yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
um, so even after John leaves, we're going to continue to have a separate meeting for that because it's kind of a whole project unto itself. Um, and it involves the back end too. And Serge is going to be involved, and yeah, there's just a lot of people are kind of involved in that project. So, but yeah, there is a lot of hard coded, we call them theatrics data, which was just built into it so that it would give kind of the user experience we're looking for. Um, and that was just because it doesn't support, like, it's not possible to connect the farmer in yet, or at least it would be very hard to do so because of the way that the farmer is architected. Um, so,
That
so
was
yeah,
exactly my doubt actually. I
yeah,
didn't know to if I was start to work in that or if
yeah. So
was no point
definitely,
on this.
definitely not a priority right now. I just wanted you to
Fine.
get, um, connect with John and start learning what we need to do. I mean, he's still working on it. Like, he's still doing closing out some of the tasks. So we'll discuss that next week, and then maybe, or tomorrow rather, and maybe starting next week we might start picking that up a little bit. But that's honestly for both you and Serge. I expect that's going to be maybe 10% of your effort at most for the next couple weeks until John leaves, and then we might start slowly picking it back up. But I mean, we have like 5 different projects we're working on right now, and so we just have to prioritize.
Yeah.
I mainly just wanted to make sure that we had a smooth transition after John left.
Yeah. So I got that resolved in my mind. I didn't know what to do. So I also created a mini branch with a fully translated desktop farmer to Spanish. It was really fast. It took me like half an hour because it was all done actually. So I just created the definitions and it was working.
Awesome.
And
And actually,
uh,
just sorry, go ahead.
and no, tell me. Sorry.
I just wanted to say, just so you guys can like paint the picture in your mind here, um, the expected date to have the desktop farmer ready is when we launch incentivized testnet, which is January 15th. That's when we need
Oh,
to have a
perfect. Nice.
production ready desktop farmer. Well, but probably I'm expecting maybe in November, maybe end of October, early November, we might be able to plug the farmer in and have something that kind of works. It's probably going to have like a bad user experience and not be fully secure and maybe kind of clunky architecture, but we should have something working like end of November, but it's not going to be production ready by any means. That's kind of what I'm thinking, how that's going to go.
Perfect. In terms of the relayer app, I uploaded. I created actually in GitHub a project. Um, Maybe I should share my screen in there. Yeah. Just connect this. This one. Are you seeing my screen, guys?
Yep.
Yes. Perfect. Well, I just created this project to share the first implementation of this. I created with React and with Bootstrap and with a simple create React app with TypeScript. And I have created like just a dashboard, a basic layout for this. Well, there is the package JSON and some basic things, manifest, and a couple of components actually, and all these wrapped by a context provider for the API promise for Polkadot. So the basic app is like created and working. I am connecting to a node and getting some extrinsics and events and the blocks. And this is the main layout where I have the header and container with the table that we designed it. And basically, I now have to create this parachain type table and create these components in here to insert in the body the information that I am getting from the from the Polkadot API. So this commit is really clean. It doesn't have so much, just like the first components like naked. And in this one, I have added the Polkadot API in the latest version actually, and I have created this AP Promise context provider for the layout. This provider is created in here actually, and it's configured in this other one, in this one actually. So I have injected these custom types just manually, and in the next commit, I have this other code where I am actually getting the information from our chain, and I am subscribing to the new heads and getting the blocks, getting the extrinsics in the same way that Serge does, and then mapping the events to the extrinsics. And for now, I am just logging this information, and I have to move these logs to a global state to show them in the table components that I am created. But yesterday it was broken, this one, because I am getting like uh, just timeouts responses from all the APIs. I don't know if users has had the same problem with this. I am basically getting the Kusama block, and when the code make the second calls in an asynchronous way to get the other blocks to the RPCs for the parachains, I got timeout, and I cannot get the information for the parachains. But for Kusama, the block is actually working, and I was working just with that connection. And then I realized that actually I wasn't able that to connect to the, how is it called, the telemetry service from Parity, getting the like a really basically the same timeout. And maybe it's my connection, I don't know, because I was stuck there, and I go to sleep actually because I wasn't able to connect to any API basically.
On the Parity side, I noticed that sometimes it's down, their telemetry server. It just happens. It goes back after a while.
Yeah, I asked it to Justin about that, and he told me no, it's working. I am seeing, and your node is block 0 and best known 0 is really weird, he told me. And I basically restarted. I went to a friend's house to check if it was my connection, and no, I was getting the same problem. So today I am going to check that.
Sorry, Leo, let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
So first, Serge, did you have a comment you wanted to say? He asked you a question there. It looked like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I had this issue. I think we discussed it yesterday. And after I implemented refetch, it's gone. So you need to implement
you mentioned
like
that it was null, but in Leo it was timeouts. I think
in my case there was no. Yeah, I received response. Maybe it's another issue. Yeah, in my case it was a successful response, but no data inside.
Okay, I will check that. I will get your changes.
Well, first off, I think maybe there's some confusion here, Leo. So in the front end app, you're connecting to the parachains by their RPC?
No. In the backend, in the Subspace repository, in the relayer branch, actually.
Okay. So but you just showed us the front end code, right?
Yeah.
But what are you connecting to in the front end?
To our node to get the events and the extrinsics that are emitted by the Serge.
Oh, so you're saying when you were running Serge's node, it was doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying that you were. I thought for some reason you were connecting from the front end to all these different parachains. Okay, sorry. Now I understand.
No.
Okay. Never mind.
No. So finally, right now, this is the structure of the front end actually.
Leo, could you show us like what it looks like, or even the mockup if it's not runnable yet? Just because these guys haven't seen that yet. Just you and I have seen that.
And that was in
Figma
Explorer. Yeah, I got them separated. Well, I was designing something more complicated than this, like with logs and everything. But actually, now getting in the project, I realized what you wanted this way. So for now, this is gonna be the first dashboard. Just some information, some general information about the relayer and the status of the relayer. How many chains we have, like back it up, right? And this table where we are showing the status of the relayer connection, right? So this will be with all the chains in here, and the status means if this has been getting feeds like continuously. If we don't have feeds in more than 1 minute, this will be get yellow and everything like it's set in here. And the last updated is the last event emitted for the in our chain. Actually, the last block number received in our chain, and the last block hash actually. And the block size, we got the block size in the extrinsic, I think, and the Subspace transaction hash where this block were included, was saved actually. So I was creating, yeah.
Sorry, I have a comment. Maybe instead of subspace transaction hash, we should include subspace block in which.
Yeah, that's actually what we
easy.
decided. We just didn't update the UI, but that's what we decided actually, Serge.
Don't worry.
Cool. Also, it looks like something is wrong with logo. A little bit cut on top. Can you see, guys?
Oh,
No.
that was just a quick and dirty copy and paste. It wasn't meant to be.
Oh.
It's not a pixel perfect. It was just meant to show the structure.
Yeah.
So this is not the one which will go to the app.
No.
Okay.
No, that comes from the style guide that Diana built. I just tried to get the idea across here of what we were looking for more than anything. And Leo, as you went through that, I think there might be a little confusion on two of these columns. The last block height and the last block hash, that's last parablock height or last source chain height and last source chain hash. So maybe we might need to make that more explicit, because it sounded like you thought maybe that was the subspace block height and subspace block hash.
No. I knew that this should be the parablock, the parachain information.
Okay, maybe we should still maybe in the heading we should specify that somehow, just so it's, because maybe that might not be obvious to somebody else looking at it, like the difference between subspace and source chain, target chain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can create some label in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do some tooltip. You know, if you hover on this, it will show like what it means.
Yeah. Some kind of tooltip label. Yeah, I can do that. I am working with React straps, so all these components are done, and it's just use it. But actually, right now it's just like really naked. I got just these things like hard coded, and in the meantime, I just work with this, and when I have this fully working, I will work with some styles. For now, I don't really care about that because I am really fast in those like front end things. It's harder for me to make this work with the Serge work. But I think that I get now, I basically got this code, and this code makes almost everything actually. This part in here. So having this resolved, like fully resolved, and not getting this timeouts problem, I will move this to our components and should be work. And after that, I will go to the styles things. Any doubts in here?
Looking great. I had a couple comments. If you can pull up the mock-up that we had in Figma again. Yeah. So whenever Leo and I were going over this over the weekend, we realized that this was not designed sort of with what the relayer does right now, but with what the intended goal is for the user interface to look like. So there's some information in here that we cannot get because it's not being tracked in the feeds API or in the runtime storage. And so we were thinking maybe we need to update some of the metadata that's in here, if it makes sense. If not, I mean, we can track this externally, but it's not, you know, we're trying to make this into a DApp, so like all the information should be stored on chain. So So I guess what I was curious, Serge and Nazar, to get y'all's feedback on, is if the main thing here is there's some sort of running totals about these feeds. So like how many blocks have been updated to the feed. For each block, I think we can parse the size out, but maybe, I guess that's the other thing we need to do. So basically for each event that we get, we should have something which says basically, like we've already got the basic information here, but the additional information we would need would be how big was the update in bytes to this feed, what is the total size of this feed, and how many elements are in the feed. And then we should be able to then basically compile that like in the front end app for all the different feeds there are that we're subscribed to at least, and then be able to compile like the total storage used and the total number of blocks that we're storing, because those are basically elements or objects in the feed. So I guess I'm curious as to what you guys think about like if it's possible or sort of acceptable to track some of that size and count information within the runtime storage of these individual feeds and put those into the events.
I think it's totally possible. It will just take some space on every client. So if that's acceptable, then sure, we can do it.
Yeah, I can update palette so it will collect this information.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like there's a scalability concern here. Like if we have like 10 million feeds, do we want to track all this information for each one of them? That could be like a huge state object that we've got or runtime storage. But I think right now, just, we've got a lot of, we can change this a lot before mainnet. And maybe it's just easier to think about like this. I think we still need, this is probably actually a whole thing that we need to talk about in detail that is missing from the engineering offsite right now, is a discussion on the actual sort of structure of palette feeds, what we want to track in the runtime from like a storage contract point of view. But I think for now, it's probably just going to be a lot more robust if we just add a few of these fields and track it in here.
To me, it's basically a question of scalability, because the things that we store in blocks, they are scalable, but the things that we store in the runtime storage are not that scalable. So we'll need to be very picky about what we include there and what we don't. So in that sense, it's like 2 numbers basically per feed.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be too bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the height of the. Go ahead, sorry, Serge.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario, if it's like tedious to store in runtime, maybe we can use something like subquery, and it will index events, for example, and then we can calculate this data just based on the events.
It's an interesting idea, right?
Yeah,
we could just compile all the events.
Yeah, I actually like it because it's not part of the like consensus or the algorithm. It's just usability feature.
Yeah.
But in order to use subquery, we need finalization. It doesn't work without finality.
There is always a catch.
What were you going to say, Leo?
No.
Okay, so yeah, I agree. And subquery is something which is definitely on the roadmap soon for us to figure out how to integrate with them more closely. We've actually got some new ideas on the business development front for reaching out to them, especially since we're using them we're using on Finality for our basically provider here in this context anyway. So, okay, cool. So it's decided. So we'll just so Serge, if you can add these in to the events and to the runtime storage, just the height and the size of each one of these, and then Leo will be able to parse that from the events, and we should be good for now.
Can we specify one more time, please?
Sure.
What's
So
the-
for each feed in the runtime storage, we need to track the height or the number of objects in the feed, which in this case should be the block height, or well, I guess in our case it would be like would have to do some addition. That's assuming that we're storing from Genesis, right? In our case, we're storing from some point after Genesis. That's okay. We'll handle that later. Right now, we just want to see something incrementing in the UI. So the number of objects in the feed, and then the total size of the feed in bytes. So that means basically every time that we add an object into the feed, we need to just get the size. And that could even be something which is included by the client in the transaction. There's many ways we could do this. We could measure the size in the runtime, or we could just like have this client submit it as part of like the metadata or like a field in the put call where they specify the size. But as long as we have that size and we sum it up for the runtime storage, and then in the event we say what was the size of the state update, what was the size, what's the total size of the feed, and what's the total height of the feed right now. So we need to add those three to the event notification.
Mhm. And we want it in the short term, right? For the demo version.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
We have this Polka scan indexer too, and in there at the moment that this relayer will be done, I have to basically upgrade that to the new chain when we publish this work. And in there, maybe I can create an API endpoint to get, I don't know, maybe this information that will be available in there, will be fed constantly, and I can create a new table in my SQL to get this.
That's something we can consider in the future, but we just got so many projects right now, Leo. I'd like to just completely freeze Polka Scan until we're ready to, until it's really absolutely necessary to come back to it.
Okay.
So yeah, let's just.
It was an idea to get this in a faster way, actually.
Yeah. Well, I'd like it to be less complicated in terms of like how many apps this thing has to talk to. Like I just want it to have to talk to our node, and that's it.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. And then Leo, are you just going to host this on like DigitalOcean, like with another endpoint?
Yeah, in the same way we will be doing.
Awesome.
For now, yeah.
And I guess in that case, we have to run a relayer itself, and then a separate serve the front end. I guess we could just serve this over a CDN. We don't even need it to be, because this is just a stateless front end app, right? That just it's all the state is rendered client side.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. We don't even want to put this on we don't want to host this in a droplet. We just want to put it on a CDN. It's the relayer that we'll put on a droplet. Okay. And I asked well, Courtney's, yeah, he's always at this meeting, but he's going to be joining the relayer meeting as well tomorrow, or sorry, the storage API meeting tomorrow. And so we're going to try to get start tracking some of these different tasks better in the board, so we've all got better visibility on where everything is at.
I've been commenting all this in Notion, so I think that is updated.
Okay. Are you tracking that, Courtney?
In the farmer also. Actually, yeah. Yeah, actually, Courtney was in the morning checking this, so I think that he's updated.
Okay. And which Notion page is that in?
Oh, in the board, the front end board, actually.
Called the relayer board. No, it's called, the page is called polka.js apps and polka scan, but what was that other board that you just showed, Leo?
That was the farmer board, I think.
Yeah, that was the farmer board. Yeah, I guess the name of the page needs to change. So just call it front end apps again. I just thought that was kind of vague.
Yeah, and we might want to include this stuff on the Relayer front end app within, because do you have a board right now for the Relayer, Serge?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you do? Okay. We might,
Where is
it might
But
be
I
easier
track,
to include, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I only track like pilot feeds and big backend stuff there. But
Okay,
yeah, I
let's
think
see
we
it.
can share.
Yeah, I think it would be easier to keep all the Relayer stuff in one place versus one for all the front end apps.
Do you know my board, Courtney?
Sorry.
Yeah, I just
Or
found it. It's under storage API relayer board.
right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So like front end apps is basically just Polka JS and Polka scan, and then all the relayer stuff will be in Serge's board, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna rename it back to what it was.
So Leo,
Yeah.
we were just talking about how to track the tasks, and we're going to track the Relayer front end in the Relayer board versus in the front end board.
Okay. So should I move all those things to the search board, right?
Yeah, you only have 2 tickets related to the relayer, so take like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'm glad that we got to cover this stuff here, but so that we were able to move faster. But let's try to keep the focus of the relayer discussion in the call on the relayer, so we can talk about that there more tomorrow. Okay, Leo, do you want to update us on Polkadot.js and Subspace.js?
I haven't. I don't have updates on that actually. I haven't worked in the Polkadot.js. I sent some fixes for Nazar comments, but I was focused in the farmer and in the relayer app actually.
Okay. Can you pull up the board for that so we can just review what's next steps are?
I can share it.
Okay, sure.
So in review, everything here, Leo's prefaced it as Subspace JS or Polkadot apps, you know, so the project name is basically in the front. Do you want me to just like open each ticket and let Leo go through it?
Yeah, let's do that. Start with in review.
So what's the what's the status with this one, Leo?
Oh, that's is still being worked actually. Yeah.
Is
Still in
that
progress.
does that mean that that's been reviewed by Nazar and you're still working on the changes, the fixes?
Nazar answered me like the second comment, and I was working in some changes in there.
Okay. Let's make it a priority. I mean, I know you're working on the front end stuff too, but the farmer stuff we can just, it's low priority. And the front end, I think we like. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is we need to balance. So this has been outstanding for like a week now, and we just like to close these open PRs
Okay.
and get them resolved.
Yeah, also Leo commented that he has like another branch which simplifies many things, so I'm wondering whether we should review that whole thing together, so we don't merge something that is like more complex just to simplify it later if we already have simplified version. I didn't check what the changes are exactly, but maybe that's a good idea.
Maybe I can close all these Subspace.js today. In the meantime, that Serge advancing the relayer backend.
Okay.
What does that mean? All the Subspace JS tasks?
It's those three, I think. Yeah.
What,
I
and then
already.
these two? You have 5.
The npm package account to publish. I think that Nazar actually make the already gave me the permissions to the organization.
I think it was Jeremiah.
Yeah, I gave you perms, but it still needs to be published whenever we're ready. So that's still an outstanding task.
Yeah. So.
At least you're not blocked on it anymore.
Uh-huh. So closing this, I can do all the other things. Yeah.
So just,
And
did I hear that correctly? You're gonna do all 5 subspace JS tasks?
actually, this one is not from Subspace. I think it's from Polkadot.apps. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think some of these are a little bit confused here.
So there's just the 3 then.
Continuous integration. Yeah, it doesn't have continuous integration, I think. Yeah, it was repeated. So these 3 actually.
Okay. Okay, so you're gonna do those 3 tickets today, is what you said?
Yeah, I will try actually. Yeah, I think that I have enough time to close this.
Okay, the other 2 are relayers, so that's for the next meeting. Are there any questions about like these 3 tasks?
I have a question about metadata version 13. Is it still necessary?
That's actually the branch that is in review.
It seems like we are not going to publish Subspace JS for Spartan, and our master branch on like actual relayer is already version 14 of metadata, so it's not super useful, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss this now because actually we have a JSON exported from this project, and right now in the farmer I am using this JSON, and in the relayer app I am using this JSON, and when I work with anything I am just using this JSON. So maybe I can close this work in terms of metadata version 13 because, like you said, will not be used anymore, and I can for now work with this JSON manually included in the Polkadot library. And
okay, so let's
this one,
simplify 3 to
yeah,
to 2 tasks. Basically, this can be closed.
yeah, and this one should be the focus actually with the new version, with the latest main Subspace branch, right?
Okay,
That has the latest changes actually.
so just delete this.
Let's close it. Like,
yeah.
The general practice, let's not
Yeah.
delete anything. Let's just like comment why you close it and then close it if you didn't actually do it, because otherwise we don't have a history of what was happening.
Right. Well, what's the official reason? Like, summarize it. Just
It's
not
no
necessary.
longer necessary. Yeah.
And all these other tasks actually are stopped in terms, like you said, Jeremiah, Polkascan will be for later. And the Polkadot apps is working. I was thinking in doing something similar in terms of it's not a priority to update it right now. Maybe when we have a new version of the chain published. Maybe you can correct me in there, guys, but
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, I'd really like to stay on a continuous integration path where everything, like as soon as Nazar publishes an update to Subspace Core, like you're immediately working on updating the front end app. So like maybe like 1 or 2 days after he publishes an update, you've got Subspace JS or Polkadot apps working, like that caught up and submitted for review. What I don't want to do is get to where we have like a 1 or a 2 week lag between these updates, and then we spend like another week approving it, and then we have like end up with like a 2 or 3 week lag between like changes in Subspace JS or changes in Subspace Core and changes in Subspace JS. I'd really like to get on this like continuous integration, everything kind of incrementally updating in sync kind of pattern.
maybe we should coordinate that because sometimes the reviewer guy in Polkadot apps can takes, I don't know, 1 week in review this.
Well,
and merge it.
I'm not talking about, sorry. So that's another thing, getting it reviewed by parity and approved by them. That's like that's out of our control. I understand that, but at least with our own fork or our own internal branch, I'd like that to be caught up on a regular basis, so that we can submit it and let them block that, but then we can still keep getting our fork up to date, like keeping it sync, and then just every week, every 2 weeks, whatever we decide. Like the release schedule is different from the development schedule. I'm just saying we need to make sure that the development branch is staying in track with whatever the backend is at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you agree, Nazar?
Yeah, I think like me and Serge, when we are doing some updates which will require some changes, we can just assign Leo as reviewer, as one of the reviewers, and he can take a look and make according changes. So we don't assign him to review everything, but something related, we can just notify him this way.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, Leo, is it's going to be a little bit difficult for you, but I need you to kind of like spend, like we're always going to have like a hot project, like right now the hot project is getting the relayer UI working, where maybe you spend like 50% of your time. But then we've got a couple other projects which we're always going to have in like a maintenance continuous integration mode. So you might be spending like 20% of your time on Subspace JS, like 20% of your time on Polkadot.js apps, and like right now maybe like 10% of your time on the farmer. And it's just going to be like, with your role here, with all these different front end apps we've got, it's just going to have to be like a little bit of a balancing, like juggling act to keep all these in sync. But the longer they get out of sync, the harder it is to do this, right? And then it's like you have to spend 2 or 3 days getting one of these up to sync, and then it's like everything else is getting out of sync, and so it's like a kind of an eternal game of catch up. So we just like to get more to like this sort of more incremental, more daily commit cycle and just continuous review cycle here.
Okay. I can actually start like in the last week. I think I've been having a more idea of my personal workflow in here. So I think that this week I will be committing in a more continuous way to the repositories and everything. Before that, I was really confused having all these kind of things opened and working in here and in that, and it was a little confusing. But I think that in the last week, I have a more clear workflow to get this like in a continuous way.
Okay, great. Let's just go through this board one more time to make sure that it's matching here what we just talked about. So Subspace JS init project, that is a PR which is under review by Nazar but awaiting fixes by Leo. And we just said that are we still going to make fixes to that PR, or are we going to just submit another one to replace it?
Probably will push some stuff on top of it instead of making another one, because there are some comments which may or may not be resolved. If we open another one, it's basically like reviewing it from scratch again.
Yeah,
Okay.
There are many things in terms of like some extra files, and I think things that I have to close in there to continue work in the next task.
Okay, so that's kind of really in progress, right? Because you're working on that now. It's not, because the in review kind of implies that it's like in somebody else's like work lane right now.
Yeah.
Okay. The relayer front end app base idea and mockup, that is complete, right? We did the mockup. So now you're working on actually coding up the relayer app. So I think we can close that task out.
Yeah, I just moved it into the in review so you guys could check that. So
awesome. Yeah, and this is the place. Like in general, like I mean, this is a Scrum best practice, right? You shouldn't really be moving tickets on your own. You should be like the way that I've worked with Scrum teams before. Please, you guys tell me if you don't like this, but the way that I've always worked before is you never move your tickets by yourself. You move your tickets in some sort of a forum like this so that everybody's actually aware of what happened. Otherwise, there's just a lot of confusion about like, well, what was the status? Like, what was the board last week versus this week? Like a lot of stuff has changed and it's not clear to everybody. But when you do it in a setting like this and all the tickets get moved over manually and they get discussed, then it's like, there's no question about what has changed.
Yeah, I like it. We can use these meetings to move the cards.
And I guess I see you kind of like grimacing, Nazar, so maybe that doesn't sound too attractive. But another way to think about this is we can do it. We don't have to do it like, we don't have to wait week to week to move these tickets. We can incorporate the board into the dev sync so that we can have the ability to move tickets there as well. As long as somebody says, hey, I moved this ticket from this point to this point and I completed this task. That can be like specific things that people can give in their update. That's another way we could do this. That's what a lot of Scrum teams do with their daily stand-up.
I actually anticipate that some of this or all of this will eventually move somewhere to GitHub, and it will be publicly viewable for everyone, such that we can move tickets when we need, and everyone interested can be notified automatically. So like anyone can go to the board, and instead of having a snapshot of like a few days ago when we moved tickets, they can see like the up-to-date status, what was the progress, like where we are basically right now, as up-to-date as possible. And in GitHub, when you have like pull requests, you can actually close the ticket when pull request is merged and stuff like that. So it will be like convenient workflow, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. And that would actually fit in really well with if we wanted to tie those to milestones the way that like Lazy Ledger did it, like I shared with you the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think for now we're going to continue working in this workflow, but I think that's what we want to move towards in the near future. Okay. So all right. So Subspace.js init project. That's in, so Leo's working on that. Subspace.js metadata v14. So that's going to be another PR Leo's working on. Relayer app. If we can make that a little bit more specific at the bottom of in progress. So that's basically getting a version 1 of the UI.
Yeah, but sorry, that should be in the relayer status board, right?
That's right. That's what we decided.
Yeah.
You already have a ticket there?
No, I don't know where it is actually.
Do you see my screen?
Sorry, I was checking mine. Yeah.
So it's over here under storage API.
Relayer board. Okay. How it's updated now. Perfect.
Okay. So that's
I
the
have
end
a
project.
question about that. Can you already submit a pull request with what you have right now? Is it like somewhat usable? Because we may end up again that we have like multi-week worth of commits, and then we are trying to review everything. If something that is already there is relatively simple and non like controversial, it would be easier to
Yeah.
merge it and then build on top.
Yeah, I was forgot about that question actually. I was asking you that.
Which ticket is that in reference to, Nazar?
I think it's Relayer app. This is what we are working on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's all just basic code, so I will do that request right now.
Cool. Okay, on the to-dos, so we've got, I remember like last week, yeah, we identified a whole bunch of issues that we wanted to fix with Polkadot apps. And
Yeah, there's just no change basically.
block author not
I
shown.
think there was some block author. I think it was figured out. Yeah, I think you fixed it, right?
The block author? No, that's done in the farmer actually.
Okay.
I tried to fix the author, and I have a bend thing in there because I need to check how they are doing it in the Polkadot apps itself. Not I know how to get the block author, right? I know how to provide the era and the eon duration, but I am still not getting how they show this. And because I have all the types implemented and everything, and even that is not showing the author information and the era and the eon and anything.
Okay. So
Yeah.
are you blocked on that, Leo, or?
Some kind of luck because I spent like a couple of hours in there, and I was able, like I said, to get this queries working, but I don't know how to show it, how to actually make it work in the Polkadot apps.
And did you ping Nazar on Discord about that one to get his help yet?
No, I
Okay.
haven't pinged in
Okay,
with
yeah.
him.
So next time you start working on that, just message him on Discord, and he'll try to unblock you if it's something that he can do. Is that like a back end problem? Like it's not?
No, it's a front end thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even from the Polkadot.js library. It's like in the front end for the Polkadot apps.
But that's something about not knowing the types of the.
No, it's not even that actually. I
Okay.
don't know why. I check it and go deep in that, and I don't know why it's not showing.
Serge, have you had a chance to look at that? Just to get a second set of eyes on it.
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, that might be. I mean, you guys can help each other out. So if one of you gets stuck, it's always good to get a second set of eyes to try to unblock yourself. We've also got Substrate Builders chat as well. They might be able to help us with this. We got a lot of resources here. Okay. Okay, so I think for the priority is the in progress, and then as you get through the in progress, then we still got this to do, which we'd get resolved by next week as well, which is all the stuff with Polkadot apps, so that we can Polkadot.js apps, so that we can get that caught back up and be ready whenever we're ready to hard fork to Subspace v1 and submit that back to parity for review.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
I think that's for my side. I don't have more updates for now.
Okay, great. Thanks for going through all that, Leo. Courtney, do you have anything on your side you want to cover?
No, not right now.
Okay. Serge, any questions or comments on anything on the front end side?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So tomorrow we will have the farmer app discussion. So we'll get John's updates. We'll have Leo give kind of a more of discussion of what you had brought up here this morning there. And then Serge, you're having a call with John today to go over the backend?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. Hopefully. I guess you're still waiting to hear back from him on a time? Okay. All right. And then on sorry?
Sorry, just finish your line of thought, and then I'll have a question at the end.
Yeah, and then I was just going to say on Thursday we'll discuss. I think by Thursday perhaps we might have an initial version of the front end, and with the event. Do you think that the events will be updated by then, Serge?
You mean palette? The
Yeah,
aggregated values.
Yeah.
Well, by Thursday.
By Thursday.
Right.
Okay, so probably like before the meeting, but not. I guess I'm just trying to get an
well,
idea on. Sorry.
Yeah, I will try. I will do my best.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. If we can, if like the goal would be by the end of the week to have an initial version of Relayer with the UI. Not perfect, not production ready, not robust, but a demo that's working. Okay. What was your thought, Courtney? Question?
I just wanted to ask, I guess, not entirely sure what the experience is like for the developers when, you know, like PRs are submitted and then it has to be reviewed and then, you know, there's comments and then there's changes. But you mentioned that, you know, in your experience working Scrum teams, you move tickets together. But I think that if the like velocity of when like tickets are put in review and then comments are received and then, you know, like Leo makes changes, if that's very quick, then would it not be easier just to let, you know, like Leo move the ticket when he's done into review and then tag like Nazar, and then Nazar can move it back when he's done his comment? Because it kind of sounds like when we get on the meetings, we just have like the two people involved in the ticket have a memory of their conversation, but that's not really displayed on the board. So like each time someone takes action, they just keep tagging the other person, because like I can turn on like a property here that has an assignee.
Yeah, we could do that.
I just don't
I
know.
think,
I just don't know if that fits with the Git workflow in GitHub. So I don't want to like overly confuse things.
yeah, I think the point is that maybe we can move the ticket to in review. Whenever, like, it's okay for the dev to do that. That was just kind of a suggestion or something to think about there for I was just trying to point out ways that we've done in the past, but I think we would like to be more agile or move faster here on these updates. So I think it's okay if the developer moves it to in review and it just stays there until it's closed out, because there will be a lot of back and forth, and we don't want to make it so the developer has to like submit the PR, then go and update Notion, and then Nazar has to reply to the PR, then go in and update Notion. It gets to be fairly cumbersome. That's why Nazar was saying we could just do this directly in GitHub, like with the boards there, where this can be basically automated, and it can just plug into the review process. But I don't want to like stop and like redesign everything on the project management side to go to GitHub. So that's a little bit like not a huge priority. So we can just continue to use this for now. But so the short answer is I think that might be a little bit overkill on the like tracking all that into in Notion right now.
Okay.
But it's what we want to get towards, and when we use GitHub, it should happen automatically.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like the idea to have this in the GitHub boards, because it makes things really more clear. The last time I worked with a team in GitHub, they have all in these boards, and they convert this in an issue or and tag it as a feature, and you can go in there and have a really clear view of what was happening with the code, and all like was started in the board itself. And like I said, it was converted to an issue and an issue to a branch, and you were like forced to have like clear requests and clear requests. And this was really, really smooth, actually.
Awesome. I think this is a topic we need to discuss at the offsite in Spain.
Yeah.
And come up with a policy here, and then work on implementing that probably immediately after that.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Any final comments on your side, Nazar?
I lost like 9 last minutes, but otherwise looks good.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thanks for the hard work, Leo. It's looking good. We just gotta try to maintain some balance and keep everything moving forward. But I think we're clear on priorities now.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye. We talk
Thanks,
tomorrow.
Leo.
Nice
Bye-bye.
day. Bye-bye.